Welcome back, eSIM Studios mobile tech news in for this Tuesday afternoon, May 21st, 2025. So, I wanted to get into, I did some homework and I got some good news if you are considering getting the new S25 Edge. It looks like, it appears is maybe now a viable device to purchase if you're looking to grab one, right? Ever since this was launched, I wanted to get it right when the news came out that they were making a slim device to rival the iPhone 17 Air. And we'll get into why I think this actually might be a better option than the iPhone 17 Air. When both were rumored to be coming out, I kind of thought the iPhone may be a better get. But it looks like this is going to beat the iPhone 17, the upcoming iPhone 17 Air, in one major category, and that will be battery life, right? Just a few days ago, we found out that the battery life on the iPhone 17 Air, the battery size is going to be 2,800 milliamp per hour battery. 2,800, very small. Now they will be implementing, Apple will be, a silicon carbon 2,800 milliamp per hour battery, but that comes out to like 3,300 milliamp per hours, right? Still small. And we've seen reports that Apple, during testing, only 6 out of 10 users testing the iPhone 17 Air could make it to the end of the day. That's horrible. That means 4 people could not even make it to the end of the day. Now, upon that news leaking, Samsung came out with a statement yesterday, and that's what kind of led me into digging into some more information. And what I found out is really good news, and that's what I'm going to put on display for everybody here today. Samsung yesterday, with the news that the iPhone 17 Air's small battery, and then the day after that, that news report came out that 6 out of 10 people could only make it to the end of the day. Well, Samsung put out a statement late yesterday, saying the S25 Edge will achieve all-day battery life. The S25 Edge, he says, paraphrasing, and it was quoted as saying that you can wake up with a full battery and go to sleep on one charge. Wow. I saw that and I was like, really? Are they serious? And apparently they made some changes that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about this. Now the information's been out for a little while. You just got to dig for it. And I don't know why this is not being put on display. That's why Samsung, OnePlus, hire me, right? I could be a perfect PR person because I would have this information that's out there that nobody's talking about. I'd have this plastered all over the internet to show people, look, we've made the necessary changes to make sure this is not going to overheat, number one, and number two, it will last you all day. So, what am I talking about? So let me pull up. I wrote an article on this. Let me pull up the article that I wrote earlier today. So if you go to mobiletech.news, I have the link. Where did it go? I don't know if it's going to get... There we go. I have the link in the description box below, mobiletech.news. You'll see it there, right? So Samsung executive reveals the secrets of the S25 Edge to achieve all-day battery life. So Samsung made 3 major changes, again, that nobody's talking about. Now, before we get into those 3 major changes, if you search on YouTube, and I have them posted in the links in the video description, I have the YouTube videos linked in this article. Battery test. So Flossie Carter put out a battery test between the S25 Plus, the S25 Edge, and the S25 Ultra. And another YouTuber put out, a smaller channel, put out a video, sort of the same thing, a battery life test. But he had more devices. Like I think he's got like a Vivo S25 Ultra, OnePlus 13, He's also has a couple of other devices, more of a variety. Flossie Carter just did Samsung devices. Look, the S25 Edge, yes, was the first one to die in those testing, but it wasn't a nosedive. Like, it literally hung in there on one test 22 hours. 22 hours. In Flossie Carter's test, it lasted damn near 12 hours of screen on time of continuous YouTube video playback. Almost 12 hours. And it actually has comparable battery life to the S25 Ultra. Who would have known? Nobody's talking about this. But I want to get into the changes. Let's dive a little deeper and figure out how Samsung achieved this, because it does have a rather small 3900 mAh battery. So I got everything here for us. Now, let's see. So, and I want to read a couple of these quotes, right? So, and this won't be a long live. What are we at? 9-minute mark? Probably go to like 30-minute mark or something, okay? But check this out. So I want to read some of these quotes that the Samsung executive, Kadesh Beckford, who is the smartphone product specialist at Samsung, is downplaying the notion that the battery life is going to be a major issue with the S25 Edge. Goes into how and why they made the necessary changes. So he's quoted as saying, "Even though we've made this device incredibly thin, we've tried to ensure that customers have suitable battery life available to them based on their needs," Beckford stated. And then he also stated as saying, "With 24 hours of video playback time and all day battery, the Edge is going to last you literally from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep or go to bed." So we're actually giving customers what they want and what they need in terms of battery life. And literally in the past 24 hours, it's true from what I've been seeing. And I'm about to back it up with proof, right? Because I saw Flossie Carter's video and I saw this and I was kind of like, huh, that's surprising. I saw this other video that I'm about to show and I was like, wow, so this is not an issue? And now it's got me thinking, wow, so I really can get this device and use it and like it, right? Because there's nothing worse than having I want to like this phone so much, but there's nothing worse than having a bad battery. Everybody's had a bad phone, battery life phone, just a pain in the ass. And it's like, well, why am I using this when I can go get a OnePlus 13 and it'll last like 2 days, right? Now, this is not a 2-day battery life phone, but if this is true, and when you wake up in the morning and you got it on the charger and you still got juice in it when you lay your head down on the pillow on that same charge, that is a win in my book, right? Because that's on par with, well, actually better than some other devices that I've used, or that I could say. And in fact, it's pretty damn good. So now check this out. Beckford added that with the lithium graphite technology, what did he say? Lithium graphite? Yes, I did some homework and we're about to dive into it. And the thermal interface material in there, it keeps the device cool. Oh, so pretty much no matter what you're doing on your phone, it lasts all day long and then some. So you got to pick apart what he's saying. His statements are very precise, but you need to pick out the keywords. So what are the two main things over the last week or two that we've been discussing here on this channel? Battery life and overheating, right? I've had overheating issues on my black S25 Ultra that I returned. Really, really bad overheating issues on the S25 Ultra, the black one that I returned. And other people as well. So I did not want overheating issues, and they said they've addressed thermals, and they've introduced basically new thermals, new battery. They've introduced a number of things that I wish they would have introduced on the S25 series, right? I'm like, why the hell you couldn't put this on your S25 Ultra? There's so many people having issues with this S25 Ultra. Mine's good. This one I got now is seems to be fine. But like with that black one, there's so many issues. And if you look in the comments, so many people having the same problem. Why couldn't they implement this in the S25 series? Well, apparently that's why this S25 Edge was delayed, because they were putting so many new parts, components in this Edge. It wasn't ready for launch. So he talks about it's going to stay cool, not going to overheat, and the battery life's going to be there. Those are my two major concerns with this device, and it appears they're ahead of us, or ahead of me. They seem to have known what my issues or concerns were going to be, and they solved them before this device was technically even launched. I know you can go and pre-order it right now, which I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. Pre-order it, and you won't have any problems, right? So let's see what else he said, quoting at all day long and then some is what he's quoted as saying. Is a bold statement for a 6.7-inch device with a 3,900 mAh battery. And let's see. Now, this also, he's also stated as saying, check this out for all you gamers out there. This is on the S25 Edge. I've played Genshin Impact on the S25 Edge. I've played PUBG, he shared. It moves so smoothly, it's unbelievable. The phone has lasted me all day, sometimes into the next day as well. I've seen those elements in action. Now, is he exaggerating a little bit? Maybe. That's his job. But, I wouldn't expect him to say anything negative about it. But I'll take that statement with a grain of salt. I expect it to play Genshin Impact and PUBG just fine. It's got a badass CPU in there, which they modified as well. But he's also quoted as saying, do also remember that traditionally phones at this level of thinness don't support wireless charging. With the custom Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset, we've still been able to include a thermal interface and wireless charging with wireless power share as well. So I can even charge my Galaxy Buds, and there is real innovation. He's also quoted as saying, you've also got the ability to add a wireless charging 2.0 case to the S25 Edge for convenience at home or in your car, so you can easily connect it up and your device will last all day. This supports wireless charging 2.0, which is another good thing because it charges faster and cooler than the traditional wireless charger that we all have in home. I got a couple here and never use them, but some devices, when I hook them up to it, they get super hot, right? Well, that's 1.0. This new 2.0 charges faster and cooler. So it's good to know that the S25 Edge does support wireless charging 2.0, right? Says for most users, the S25 Edge will offer audio battery life for the phone's wireless charging, and 2.0 compatibility should ensure that it can be charged anytime, anywhere if you find yourself needing a boost. Now, downside, it only supports wired charging at, well, I shouldn't say only, but at 25 watts. Now, wireless charging 2.0, I believe it goes up to 15 watts. Takes a little longer, but that option is there, right, if you want it to be. So I wish they could have opted for faster charging. I think they kept it at 25 watts just to make sure. I think future models will have support faster charging. I think they want to play it safe. I think they're still kind of playing it safe from that Note 7 fiasco where they were blowing up. But they have new battery tech in here. So, but before we get to that, let's talk about this new Snapdragon 8 Elite. So that was my main concern. If my black S25 Ultra was overheating, right, while charging it and while not charging it, why would I not think this S25 Edge, right, won't get hot, right? Because they are running the same CPU, correct? Halfway true. So yes, this new S25 Edge is running a Snapdragon 8 Elite, but they modified it. So, and I was wondering about this, and when I started doing all my homework last night, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, yes, I think I mentioned it last week. Why don't they put the same CPU that's in the Oppo Find N5 in this S25 Edge? And that's exactly what they did. So the Oppo Find N5 is currently it will be dethroned here shortly, probably in 6 to 8 weeks with the upcoming Fold 7. But the Oppo Find N5 is currently the world's thinnest smartphone when it's unfolded. It's only like 5 millimeters thick. Now it is so thin that there's not much place for heat that's generated by the CPU. There's really not much space for it to go, right? It doesn't dissipate heat well. Well, what Oppo did, they worked behind the scenes with Qualcomm, and they actually removed a core. Well, I guess Qualcomm did, removed a core from that 8 Elite. So it's actually the OG, the original Snapdragon 8 Elite is an octa-core CPU, 8-core CPU. Oppo and Qualcomm cleverly removed a core from that CPU. Now, why did they do that? That's so it won't generate as, you still get the raw performance and raw power, right? It still performs great on benchmark tests, but it doesn't generate as much heat, right, as a 8-core CPU would. So they did that to try to keep the temperatures down so it doesn't overheat, essentially. Now, Samsung implemented that same 7-core Snapdragon 8 Elite in this new S25 Edge. And I was like, damn, did they really do that, or am I just reading wishful thinking, right? So I did my homework and I went to GSM Arena, where I typically go for all my mobile device data. And I posted a screenshot here of proof. So if you go to GSM Arena, well, I have it pulled up here on these specs right here. Now check this out. If you go down to chipset, or go to platform, and then you go to OS, and then you go to chipset, Qualcomm SM8750, that's the 8 Elite, but the 3/B is that modified version, that 7-core version, and proof is even below it, where it says CPU, look to the right, 7-core CPU. It's got 2 Orion cores, and it's got 5 Orion Phoenix cores. Phenomenal news, because that was a huge concern of mine, and it looks like Samsung took the necessary steps to make sure this thing, just to make sure it doesn't overheat, because it is very thin, right? So I was very, very pleased to see that. I guess that's the first out of the 3 major steps. So they put a modified Snapdragon 8 Elite, a 7-core CPU instead of an 8-core, to try and keep the temperatures down. Now, what's the second thing Samsung did to try to keep this thing cool and conserve energy from that small battery? Well, Samsung did what they do best, and that's make top-notch, cutting-edge technology displays. So Samsung put a brand new OLED display in this S25 Edge. If you're a viewer of this channel, I've mentioned numerous times, maybe 6 months ago, I think that was the very first statistic or piece of news or rumor that came out on at that time, the upcoming S25 series. It's about 8 months ago. There was a news leak that came out that said the S25 series is going to stay with the M13 OLED display, the same display that was in the S24 series they were going to put in the S25 series. And I thought at that time, well, they're obviously doing it to conserve costs, right? Because to keep their profit margin still there. Well, their newest display, the next generation, the M14 OLED display, is more brighter, more clear, more vibrant, but it uses less power. It draws less power from the battery to keep it on at the same brightness, same comparable brightness as their previous M13 series OLED display. Now, Pixel, if you remember, Pixel implemented a brand, it's not the M14 display from Samsung, but Google actually sources Samsung for all of their displays, and they actually had a custom display made for Pixel. Now, what's the difference between the Pixel display in the 9 series and the Pixel 8 series? Well, this 9 series Pixel display that is sourced from Samsung used about 20% less battery than the Pixel 8 series. So that helps you with battery life, right? Well, Samsung basically took that technology and pumped it up with steroids to where now it uses 30% less battery. And they're implemented this all new, brand new OLED display inside the S25 Edge. So it pulls less power. It's just as bright. In fact, it's even brighter in comparable models or OLED displays. I think the nits are the same, but all that jargon, mumbo jumbo. You can get the same brightness, the same nittage. Anyways, you can get, if you pull an S25 Plus and an S25 Edge, S25 Plus, S25 Edge, if you have them both at 100% brightness, the S25 Edge is going to pull 30% less power to power that, to brighten that display. 30% less power than the S25 Plus, because the S25 series, the S25, S25 Plus, S25 Ultra have the M13 display, which is a OLED display, which is about a year and a half old. This new Edge, they got a brand new display in there. That's news to me, and nobody talked about that. I didn't find this out until last night. So you see them using less power from the CPU, right? Because it's got a 7-core instead of an 8-core. It uses less power and does not heat up as much. You see them implement a brand new display, which uses 30% less power, right? Now, we'll get into the third and final key thing that Samsung did to maximize this S25 Edge battery life. But real quick, before we move on from the OLED display, here's some of the benefits that the new M14 OLED display carries. It carries the M14 panel is significantly brighter than previous generations, offering a more vibrant and immersive viewing experience, enhanced energy efficiency. The M14 panel is designed to be more energy efficient, potentially leading to a longer battery life for devices using this display. Longer service life. Samsung claims the M14 panel have a longer lifespan compared to earlier generations, meaning they can withstand more use before showing signs of degradation. And Samsung is reportedly supplying Apple M14 OLED panels for the entire iPhone 17 lineup, including the non-Pro models. As you know, or you may not know, the iPhone 17 series, the base models are now getting Pro Motion 120 Hertz displays, and it looks like Apple's going to put top-notch displays all across the iPhone 17 series, not just the Pro and Pro Max. And they're getting them from Samsung. Now, potential for 120 Hertz refresh rate, it goes up to 120 Hertz refresh rate, but they do something, and this is something I need to look more into. It's actually, it's going to be rated at 120 Hertz, but there is something with the motion within that 120 Hertz. It allows for more fluidity, so to speak. I'm not sure the right terms I'm using, but kind of the technical jargon I was getting at is it allows for a smoother 120 Hertz refresh rate, whatever that means. So definitely be looking into that, looking forward to that, checking that out. Now, let's get into the third and final thing Samsung did before we get out of here to maximize this S25 Edge battery life. They actually have a new battery. Now, it's not silicon carbon, right? I did my homework on this. It's not silicon carbon, but it is new battery technology. So if you go earlier in the comments when I was the quotes that Samsung's smartphone product specialist Kadesh Beckford, he was saying, he mentioned something about lithium graphite technology. And that's when I was like, what the hell is a lithium graphite? I don't think I've ever heard of that. So I did my homework, and sure enough, they put a brand new battery tech in there. Now, what is a lithium graphite? Well, it's definitely not silicon carbon, so kind of a bummer there, but I think they're gradually making their way to something like silicon carbon. So I think with this next S26 series, you're at the least, you're going to see them implement this. You're going to see Samsung implement the lithium graphite battery, the new lithium graphite battery at the very least in the entire S26 lineup, if not something similar or on par with the silicon carbon technology. Now, this lithium graphite technology, let's say the old battery, right? So the batteries that are in the S25 series, S25, S25 Plus, and S25 Ultra are old school lithium ion batteries, right? Let's say that's been a standard battery for basically all cell phones since the OG Motorola StarTACs, right? Like lithium ion, it's a staple in a lot of electronics, not just cell phones, but like battery packs, anything electronics that has a battery, probably lithium ion. Let's say that's 1.0, and let's say silicon carbon, the brand new badass battery technology that OnePlus is using, let's say that's like 2.0 in terms of generations of newer technology when it comes to batteries. Well, after doing some homework, it looks like the lithium graphite battery that Samsung's using in this S25 Edge, again, which is not in the regular S25 series, that's like 1.5, right? So it's not basically on the level of silicon carbon, but it's close. So that's why I say it's like a 1.5. It's not 2.0 yet, but it's 1.5. But look, any improvement is good, right? It proves to me Samsung is hearing the concerns, basically generated these concerns within R&D of this S25 Edge, and essentially knew what everybody was going to voice their concerns about, and they proactively and preemptively basically implemented all of the necessary adjustments they need to combat all of our concerns, right? So this new lithium graphite battery, same benefits as the silicon battery, so it's more dense. Now again, it's not on the level, it's not as dense as a silicon carbon battery, but it's better, right? I believe it holds up to 15% more ions and anodes than the old school lithium ion battery, and I think the silicon carbon battery, did I put it in here, holds up to 30% more ions. So again, gradual increases. So it's sort of like the display, sort of like the display where you get a subtle increase in battery, shit, I lost my place, but it's a subtle increase in battery density and battery longevity. So this is basic. So look, I did the math. So let's say the S25 Edge is rated at 3900 milliamp hour battery, right? So it's going to say that on paper. Now, if it holds 15% more, because it is a lithium based battery, it's going to say 3900 milliamp hour battery, 3900 milliamp hour. It's going to be rated as such since it is a lithium based battery. But with the graphite that comes into play, it holds 15% more ions, right? So if you do the math, if you do 3900 times 0.1, excuse me, if you do 3900 times 1.15, which is 15%, basically comes out to a 4485 milliamp hour battery. So I mean, I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. Technically, it has a 3900 milliamp hour battery, but it's as dense as or comparable to a 4485 milliamp hour battery. So that's why Samsung is confident in saying this thing will last you all day, right? That's why he stated as saying, look, when you take it off the charger in the morning, it'll still have enough power. It'll still be on that same charge when you lay your head down at night when you plug it back in. So that's why I think they're pretty confident in this battery. And look, proof is in the pudding, right? They can talk all they want to, they can throw out all this information they want to, but the real test is when it gets to us users, right? Well, check out these videos. So here's a couple of videos and the proof is in the pudding. We're going to review and watch some of this real quick. Now, what is lithium graphite before we move on to these batteries? Just to explain a little more what this is, graphite is a crucial component of a lithium-ion battery, serving as the anode, the battery's negative terminal. Here's why graphite is so important for the battery's storage capability. Graphite's layered structure allows the lithium batteries to intercalate, slide between layers. Is graphite battery better than lithium ion, traditional lithium ion? And so when it comes to charging speeds, battery density, longevity, and safety, yes. When it comes to safety, graphite-based batteries are generally less dangerous and react less frequently. Lithium-ion safety, the old school, risk of overheating and fires, particularly with poor manufactured or damaged cells. That's the old school battery. So yes, it's a newer generation, newer technology. It's more dense, so it holds more of a charge longer. Theoretically, it can charge faster, although Samsung hasn't implemented that. But look at this video. So here's the proof is in the pudding, right? So here's the video. You have a, let me see if I can take this off the screen. Damn it. You have a Magic, what is that? 7 Pro, Huawei Magic 7 Pro. You have an, here on the left, you got Apple iPhone 16 Pro Max, second from the left. S25 Edge is smack dab right in the middle. S24 Ultra is on the second from the right side, and then on the very right side you got the S25 Ultra. So here's a battery test that was basically sped up, right? We'll get out of here in just a minute, but let me just finish this video off with proof. Proof is in the pudding, right? So here it is. The S25 Edge lasted a continuous 22 hours and 37 minutes of testing. 22 hours, right? And this guy, and maybe I'll link the video. I'll link this video in the description video, so you can go check out for yourself. That's amazing. That's amazing. He was doing all sorts of stuff. I think he had games on there. It wasn't just a YouTube straight video like Fossey Carter did. This involved more apps, more applications. Lasted 22 hours and 37 minutes. That's insane. And there's the proof right there, right? Because no way did I think this was going to last that long. And there you have it. So the longest one to last actually was S25 Ultra at 33 hours. I don't know how they got that 33 hours out of that phone, because I think mine's pretty good, but 33 hours is insane. Now check this other video out. Here's the Fossey Carter video. Now what he did was a YouTube video. So there's videos on YouTube that have a timer on it, and the screen won't time out, won't go dark if you're watching a YouTube video, right? So there's these timers on YouTube, and that's what he did. And basically at 12-hour increments. So he basically set these phones up. He's got an S25 Plus on the left, S25 Edge second from left. So S25 Plus, S25 Edge, S25 Ultra, and then on the very right is the Z Fold 6. And he basically did this YouTube test where continuously have a video playing, and you can use it for battery testing, right? And anyway, started each device from 100%. Now this went over, all of them went over the 12-hour mark. Let's see where the S25 Edge ended up. So almost 12 hours of screen on time. It was at, the S25 Edge was at 2%. So basically it was going to die. It lasted just shy 12 hours of continuous YouTube video playback. It's pretty freaking good. I mean, it's 12 hours of screen on time on one charge. That's pretty freaking good. So that goes to kind of show you, and we'll get out of here, but just wanted to put this out there and let everybody know that I think we can, until we get these in hand, right, until we actually test these, I I think they come out on the 30th, I think, is when you can walk into a Best Buy and buy one, or a T-Mobile and buy one. You can pre-order them now, but I think it'll probably people start probably in hand. But usually if you pre-order it, you get a day or two early, right? So we're looking at like probably next, actually let me look at my calendar. So today's the 21st, so let's say the 29th would probably, some people will have them, is a week from tomorrow. So here in about a week, people should start getting these devices in hand and start to use them. Here's what I'm going to do. So now that I know this, and that's why I wanted to put this out there for everybody to see, Samsung modified the CPU, right? They removed a core to make it to generate less heat, essentially. It does not really affect the performance at all. They put a brand new OLED display on there that uses 30% less power to illuminate the display, and they have a brand new battery in there that uses 15%, or can hold 15% more. So it's essentially like having a 4,400 milliamp hour battery, right? So I think this is a go. I think this is a good device. I think here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to pre-order mine tomorrow. I needed something like this to prove to myself, as much as I want to put this message out there, I kind of wanted to do all this just for myself, right? I wanted to be sure that this device, once purchased, would at least make it through a full day of use. It looks like it will. So I'll have everything linked in the video description box below. I do appreciate the time. And before I get out of here real quick, I have an update. I uploaded a video to my eSIM Studios YouTube channel. Bugs. I'm having bugs with Android 16 QPR1 Beta 1. And I'm going to get live here in a second. And so kind of show everybody the bugs that my Android 16 QPR1 Beta 1 is having on my Pixel 9 Pro XL, and what you can do to combat that or try to get rid of said bugs. So look out for that video, and I'm going to do a full charge test tomorrow on the Pixel 9 Pro XL with the Android beta software in there. Tomorrow we'll wake up at 100%, and then I will document throughout the day to see where the battery life is at with this new version of Android with Material 3 theming. But I'll get out of there on that. Do appreciate the time. If you got any questions, hit me up in the comments below, and see y'all tomorrow. Peace.